So creating a level in this game is pretty straightforward. Hold up. What you do first of all is you need to find an empty level prefab to start with. And for this recording I'm using 28 because 27 is the most recent one I worked on, so I just picked this one. By the time you watch this it'll probably be further along, but whatever. You want to pick an empty prefab to start. In the level, you always need to have three things. You need to have the player prefab, the goal prefab, and the core. The player is pretty obvious. It's who you play as. There can only ever be one of these, and there must always be one of these. For the goal, there can be any number of goals. There has to be at least one, but you can have, 1, 2, 3, however many you want. It doesn't really matter. For core, this is the little camera icon that sits at the dead center of the level. You don't care about this at all. Don't touch it, except for if you open it up, go to main camera, and this size value is the only thing you'll ever touch on the whole of the core prefab. None of the rest of it you care about. It just holds all the UI stuff and whatever. The reason changing the size of the camera is important is because it changes the initial zoom of the camera. It'll automatically zoom out if you get towards the edges of the camera, but the initial zoom is important because you always want to have enough space in your field of view to drag the launch line back all the way for the player. You have to make sure you can do this all the way back, all the way around the player when you make your map. Because right here you can see it cuts off when we get over to here. We don't like this. We don't want this to happen. So what we're going to do is go to core, pop it out to 11 or something, and then go back in, and it's now good to go. And this is what you want every time. Don't have this thing be cut off. That's not going to be good. So other than that, if you go to the prefabs folder down here, there's a bunch of different things you can add into the level. The only thing you don't care about, core, AWS thing, data initializer, line render, thrust particle. You don't care about any of this. What you care about is all the things here, and these four things too. These are the things you can put into the level that the player can interact with. Like a black hole sucks in the player really strongly in a really small area. They don't really do much else right now, but later they should have some extra stuff attached to them. There's also bonus points you can put in the level, and whenever you touch these, they get you 500 more points, and so I tend to use these as sort of a guide to the player, where if they could make some kind of fancy shot in the level, maybe around a couple planets or whatever, I might put a couple of bonus points in the way of that to kind of encourage them to hey, go out here and do something. Could be something interesting if you take a shot like this. Obstacles are just obstacles. They don't have any gravity attached to them at all. It's just set to 0, and if you touch these you just die and you get reset. So that's how they work. And there's currently 4 different sizes of planets. I only made 4, and I keep them the same. I don't touch them after I've made them because I wanted to keep the gravity for the planets to be pretty consistent. That may change in the future, but at least at the time of this recording, I keep these consistent and I don't change them. I just put the prefab down and I'm done. I don't change any of the values or anything. And these, as the planets get bigger, they will have higher gravity and or a higher scale, so they'll pull you from further away with higher gravity. But this one stays the same, it just pulls you much further. So these are the 4 sizes you get to work with. I guess don't make any more. Maybe. I don't know. We could talk about it. For white holes, these are pretty straightforward to use. They're basically just the opposite of planets. Instead of pulling you in with a gravity value, they push you away with a negative gravity value. There's also different sizes of white holes. These I'm more particular with changing. Like you could take this one and like change its gravity like to minus 25. When you place the when you put the prefab in here, you can like change the values to it, and it'll change it for all of them. Like this is a white hole mid size, and so it is a negative 35. But if I place that inside the scene and I change it here, it won't affect the prefab in the in this folder right here. But if I change the prefab in the folder here directly to say negative 45, that should change. Well, it'll change all the existing ones in the other scenes. So don't change them in the folder. If you want to change a gravity value, place it in the scene, select it, and then change it up here. Don't change it in the folder here. That's not good. Beyond that, that should pretty much be it. Just put all the stuff you want down on the level and make sure you can actually complete the level yourself up to 3 stars. The way you add scores to a level is you go into scriptable objects, click on main campaign, and then you scroll down to the element that contains your level. Generally speaking, the level number will be 1 higher than the element. So for this one, level 28 is, it is at element 27. Yeah, level 28's in here, and it's at element 27. And so you just pop this down, say, yeah, we can get 2,000 for 1 star, 3,000 for 2 stars, and 4,000 for 3 stars. That works just fine. Just hit Control S, and then you're done. You can just leave it like that. Let me put it back up. And that's it. That's all you need to know to make these.